Jed Schmidt, so you're probably thinking this guy has really excellent German, but no, I'm from New York. I don't actually speak German, so I didn't know what to do the intro in. Should I do it in English? But then that's kind of douchey because here's this American coming in and speaking English, so I didn't want to do it in English. So here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try giving you the intro to today's conference entirely in CSS. So this is the challenge. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I studied all of the HTML5 element names. I studied all of the CSS3 property names. And so here we go, intro.css, or if you're German, intro.css, pre-96. Anyway, okay, cool. So first of all, hi. Hi, you all. Hi, everybody. Here is your intro. I basically just want to give you a background about CSSconf. I'm sorry. That's not bad. Let's turn the numbers, but then the CSS. Okay, cool. It's a nice orange. So yeah, CSSconf. I think you'll love it. It hurts me too. Don't worry. But before we start, I'm just going to some filler content here. You might find it a little bit off color. You might find it, the jokes are somewhat opaque. Maybe some of the jokes are a little bit of a stretch. Speaking of the jokes, I'm just going to list them up. It's trying to lighten the mood. Some of them might make you a little bit embarrassed, make your face red or make you blush. Better known as FFFOF5, but I am a bottomless trove of bad CSS jokes, so I don't think I'll have any trouble there. They're not all funny, but every 10th joke will float just right and will be comic gold. So just bear with me if it seems slow. Gold also, obviously, FFD700. So I just want to give you a background of the area. Here we are in Berlin. It's a conference about style in a city that has style. Berlin has so much style, its styles have style, and that just keeps repeating forever. Yeah, it's like just walking out on the street, just seeing people on the street. Man, it is so stylish. Even here at Berghain, people waiting in line have style. You would say they have inline style. And because it's Germany, the line height is about 2x what it usually is where I'm from. But you don't want to use inline styles, right? That's bad. You want to use class. And this city, obviously, has a lot of history, has a lot of class. I haven't seen this much class. It's almost too much class. Berlin is almost too classy. I haven't seen this much excessive class since I last used Modernizer. About the area also, we are right next to the Berlin Wall. If you might know, it's about 2 million pixels to your left. It is this solid border that used to divide Germany until 1989 when it collapsed. So it's actually kind of hard to find. You actually can't find the Berlin Wall with CSS. You're going to need to use JavaScript using jQuery. I'm sure you guys all know how to do this. jQuery, you just put in a selector, so you just find an area that has Solhoff, and you can find the Berlin Wall. He's wearing a jacket. You'll see it. It shouldn't be too hard to find. So about this address where we are right now, we are on Invalidenstrasse. And again, I don't know German. I'm pretty sure that Invalidenstrasse in English would just be a street address that is disabled. That's my guess. It's a read I have. And about this particular section of this area, it's Villa Elisabeth. It is some background about the position of this place. It is right in the center of Berlin. You can see these beautiful white walls. The background here is white, better known as FFFFFF, but it's actually, the building's a little bit old, so it's faded a little bit. It's actually more like a FAEBD7, better known as antique white. Apparently fading is perfectly natural this in a white space. Perfectly normal that happens, so don't worry about it. So this is actually like a parish. You can't really tell. It's not on display, but this is actually a religious institution. So it's not really on display, but if you were here maybe 50 years ago, it would be more of a display nun kind of thing. Anyway, so let's talk about this conference. It is an import from the States. CSSconf started. We're going to hear more about that later from Nicole. Let's talk about CSSconf. Actually, hold on. Let me get a little bit more specific. Let's talk about CSSconf.eu. It's the first of its type. It's, I think, as far as I know, the only of its type. It is, for the organizers, it is their first conference, and I'm sure you know what that means. It is nth child index 1. So of all the children, it's like the index is 1, or as some of you would say, the index is 1. So yeah, CSSconf.eu, it's not for profit, right? So there's no margin. They don't make any margin on this. Hopefully, when they're done, there will be nothing left. I assume, what I hope is not the case, that they actually have extra money and they just hide it. So let's hope that that is not happening. Let's talk about the list of the speakers. We have excellent speakers there in the top 1% of their field. The backgrounds are really, really badass. You would also say absolutely badass. While you're listening to these speakers, if you are unable to focus, next we have a selection of delicious black coffee. But I've heard, unfortunately, we have 0 decaf, which, you know, if you're not a caffeine person, is bad. But let me give you some background on that. Apparently, the organizers asked them to do decaf, and all they said was 99999, and then just no decaf. So I realized that's a lot of background jokes in a row, so I'm just going to turn off, repeat on the background jokes. Don't worry about that. It's the last one. I also mentioned the toilet. If you need directions, ask me later. If you have to drink all this coffee and you have to pee, after you visit the toilet and you're empty of pee, everything will be fixed. Everything will be all right. So definitely give that a visit. I want to talk. We have this policy they mentioned. It's the anti-jerk policy. So I just want to give you, in the context of CSS, what that entails. So take this pretty seriously. Don't disable user selection on all elements. That's kind of douchey. Don't every 7 images, don't rotate them 180 degrees. Like, that's pretty douchey. Don't fade all the paragraphs to 0, like I can't see them after 500 seconds. Like, don't do that. That would be a jerky thing to do. And finally, don't blink all of your H1s. All right, so just a guide, just don't do that stuff. That would definitely fall under the jerk policy. One more point I want to make. One point. I guess it would be a pretty important point. I want to talk about if you guys take photos or of anything, totally cool. But would love if you guys could share them. You can display them online if you want to, or you could put them around your block or both. But it would be a shame if after CSSConf we were left with 0 pics. So just make sure you share them. That's all I ask. And that's about it. And so, without further ado, I would like to bring up our first keynote. Our first speaker, needs very little introduction, so she will get none. Ladies and gentlemen, Stubbornella, Nicole Sullivan.